there who need jobs. There's people out there who basically are unhappy with themselves, who are in total depression mode. But when the news continues to focus on things that, to me, to continue to focus on race as an issue, and we have to bring it up because we want to keep you awake and not asleep at the wheel. But the bottom line is, you don't need to derail yourself. You need to identify it and then identify what we can do to change our communities. When it comes to ethnic backgrounds, white and black, look at this farmer. This farmer came out and they found that all this was just mixed up to continue to promote hatred. And out of it, we found out good was in place. We found out that Shirley was speaking of a white farmer. He was white. Just like when we talked about the police officer who shot that young man who couldn't remember if a taser or a gun were different. So he had to take his hand, turn that young man's face down to the ground, and he got mixed up between a taser and a gun.
Well, Shirley, that's one of the things.
And he was white, and that young man was
That's
black.
right.
And so the media continues to promote, the racial issue versus the real issue of discriminating and tearing apart stories and making more fabricated lies.
Well, that's part of the
out of it.
controversy. People say, and part of the leftist literature is that racism has always been used as a tool to keep the common folks divided. In other words, what keeps the working class divided? Working class whites, working class
Exactly.
blacks, working class Latinos. What actually keeps us divided? One of the big things is racism, classism. All of that's in there because if we got beyond that, we would maybe affect these political movements, which is why you and I are here with such diverse political views as we share. Still, we seem to be able to come together and find a unifying point in many of these issues. So, yeah, I agree with you totally, Shirley. It's an issue. They use it.
Can I ask a question? Who won this battle, and did the Tea Party mover get what he wanted out of this? See, there's a win to this,
Right.
And it is supposed to extend. Was the goal to sit back and tear down the NAACP? No. Was the goal to really have it reach up to the Obama administration, Obama himself? Did he get something done at the end? Who came out winning on this? Anybody got any opinions on that one?
Well, I think that the winner really is no one because he got what I think he wanted attention, so he got that. He got the NAACP attention, he got the President Obama's attention, and he's got the United States attention on this issue. Because if you want to bring up some fires, just turn up race, black, white, Mexicans, shoot a black child, you got a lot of heat going on. What was the outcome of it? What was the purpose? What did we gain from it? Where is the goodness out of this?
I think
where is the contribution towards greatness out of it?
What?
That's how I like to think of
Right.
life. Versus us continue to put energy towards things that are going to tear us down. If we think about Harry Reid and the whole Harry Reid thing going on in Nevada. If you want to watch some of our past shows, we talked about that story. When you continue to all of a sudden go back to really crazy old days of black and white, is it helping us currently at this time move forward as a country? No, it divides us. So what did he got? He got division. It looks like that's what he was trying to do by taking a clip and manipulating it and pulling it out of its context. So if that's what his agenda was, then great. Our agenda here at hiphoprepublican.tv and .com is to keep you aware and awake. How you evaluate your answer is really going to be up to you. How you even think about the show or your feelings towards me. But I will tell you this, to be divided will not seize and conquer our goals here. Because our goal is to engage, to be awake, and to move forward.
Well, I think what it did is like you said, it made people more entrenched. It didn't do anything, but depending on what point of view you have, it just made you more angry and made you more entrenched. And it gave you, for everybody who's angry, it gave you something to argue. It gave you things to argue about the NAACP. If you're a leftist, you actually hate the role of the NAACP in this, and then it makes you want to question their value. Now you got the leftists, now you got black folks fighting internally now over the NAACP.
And isn't that going back to slave days? That's what they want to do. They want to keep us so that we are divided. That goes back to slavery. That goes back to the story. Let's talk about blackface on blackface. Last week we talked about how President Obama and their decision on some of the deceptions of manipulating our minds into thinking that government is really working for us, when we find out within urban communities that they're not. So today, I don't know if the political brother can go and find that deception Obama video that we had from last week, but KRS talks about that. And he talks about that at the 15.20 second of that video. And as he talks about that, he questions you to question yourself. you think because you vote these people in the office because they're African American or of any color. If you're Asian, if you're Armenian, if you're Japanese, you think, well, this man's going to work in my best interest. That's not the case. The case is it's about issues. It's about social issues if you agree or disagree. And just because a person is African American doesn't mean that they're going to work in your best interest. Just because they're white doesn't mean they're going to work in your best interest. What we have to identify is what are the real issues at hand. And what the real issues at hand are here is we have urban community leaders in Detroit, in New York, in Chicago, in Los Angeles, all out throughout these big cities, Atlanta, and we're finding that these urban community leaders have been running these communities for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. 30 years, and that means that has been commenced over several presidents, not only President Obama, but President Bush, President Clinton, President Nixon, President Kennedy. Some of these people have been in their position for a very, very long time. And yet you still have been deceived, and you see destruction within your community. You see that real estate has major impact and destruction in your community. The infrastructure of you having the nicer stores, you don't have. The trash cans on the end of the corner, you don't have. The cracked streets and the sidewalks that need to be replaced, you don't have. The trees that are needed to be put into community for environmental and beauty development, you don't have. And the reason why you don't have those community items is because your community leaders are taking advantage of you and they're getting paid. What do you feel about that, political brother?
Which part?
They're getting paid, brother. They are keeping your money and they're not beautifying your community. I'll give you an example. Let's talk about the city of Bell.
Okay.
Who is they? Who is they?
Who is they?
Yeah.
They are your city council people, your school board people,
Are they
your water board
Republicans?
people. They can be whatever. But the majority of those urban community leaders are not Republicans. They are Democrats. They are Democrats that have been running your urban community for years, and yet you're very protective of them. And yet you're on the attack of attacking Republican and African American women such as myself and others that are out there trying to wake you up to the agenda. And you protect them for what? What do they do for you? Are they trying to support you and small capitalists? Are they trying to help developers come in so you can create small mom and pop stores? And maybe you're a barber. Maybe you're a seamstress. Maybe you're a hip hop artist. Maybe you're a person that makes items and you want to get your product out there and you want to just have a small spot for it in your community. But you can't because you don't feel safe. Because your city council people, your senators, your assemblymen, your local state leaders have not allocated and work in conjunction with the developers to move forward to complete a better community that is nice for you. I'm going to tell you what they're doing. They're sitting on their asses getting paid. They are the ones getting the check, not you. They are the ones taking the money and not putting it back into the community to help you. And do you know why? Because you allow them to do that. Why, family? Why? That's my question. Just like the city of Bell. Now let's talk about the city of Bell and all.
And I'm doing a search now to determine whether they are Republican or not. You might want to be cool.
No, I'm not going to be cool
Okay,
because I know
because,
that Republican. If you think
I'm
about
just telling you,
Maxine
it looks like a bunch of these folks in Bell are Republicans. I'm about to tell
not
you.
Bell's not an urban.
I'm about to tell.
I'm talking about black urban communities.
Oh no, I'm talking about those
the
people
city of
making
Bell,
it. 800,000.
Yeah, the one making 800,000
Okay.
is a charter city, and those are crooks too.
Yeah, now they
You got crooks on
Republican.
Republican and Democrats, but
Okay.
we're talking about urban communities, urban communities. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Bell has a large Latino community.
Bell, I know, is one of the poorest here. At least they tell you this. It's one of the poorest municipalities in Los Angeles County, and it's supposedly even in California. And people at least are raising this issue that why is it that in the poor community